So, you know what we're going to talk about today? We're going to talk about something that we all need, and it's called faith, trust, and pixie dust. I know you kind of already know what I'm going to talk about, but before we do talk about that and how a little faith and a little trust and pixie dust can certainly help you at this time, and me, and everybody for that matter, let's talk about something else really quickly. Hi, I'm Cindy Sharp. I am the self love leader. I help a community of courageous women that try to make the world a better place by leading a life they love and serving those they lead. Does that sound kind of cool? Do you think maybe you might be a self love leader? Well, here's how I share with people that they kind of know that they are a self love leader, and that is like this. And that is, they know that they have this big thing they want to do. They know that they're coming into themselves in a way like they never have before, but they can't quite pull back the curtain. They can't quite pull back that veil and show the magical being that they are so they can serve and lead a life that they want. So if you feel like that's you, then you may possibly be somebody that might want to look into becoming a self love leader so you can open that curtain. Okay. So faith, trust, and pixie dust. So, faith. Wow. When it comes to faith, don't you usually personally think about spirituality or religion? I'm a pretty dang spiritual girl. Um, sometimes religious. I kind of waver back and forth. I certainly am religious about my spirituality. That's for sure. Uh, but what I also find is that there's other kinds of faith other than just the kind that comes from, enlightenment or the kind that comes from a religious belief. And you know what that faith is? That faith is having faith in something that is really important. So, do you have confidence in something? Faith? Do you know what that something is? Sometimes when the world looks like it's going crazy. And boy, it kind of sort of has been. Now, I'm not a person that, talks about politics, certainly not going to talk about wars. Um, I'm not a person that, is going to share with you my thoughts or belief in regards to our situation that we've gone through these last 2 years, this really tragic health situation that we've gone through. And the reason is that I don't share that isn't any other reason than that's not my message. But I would be hiding behind that curtain or hiding behind that veil if I didn't say now is a really tough time for people. And now is the time that we need to have faith. Whatever kind of faith that is, but the one faith I'm talking about today is when things are going on around you where it looks like everything's kind of twirling in a blender. You have to have faith in yourself. You have to have faith that you're going to get through this. You might get through it in an immensely fantastic way where you actually help others get through it. But in the beginning, you have to have faith in yourself. So have a little faith in yourself. That's what I got to say. So trust. Hmm. Faith and trust always people think kind of go hand in hand and that they kind of dance with each other, I kind of call it. But the fact of the matter, trust is just a little bit different. And it is about releasing control of an outcome. So when things are looking like it's in a blender and there's lots of different struggles going on, it's very hard for us in our human mind And in our human heart, these two work together quite well. It's hard for us sometimes to release control because we don't feel safe. So what do we do? What do we do when we don't feel safe? We have to lean in, lean in. Maybe it's to the right, maybe it's to the left. I'll talk about that in a second. We really have to lean into trust. We have to know that with faith in ourselves, that we can trust that the outcome is going to be the outcome that the universe, the divine, that our heart wants for us. And let me just share something with you. At the end of this video, I'm going to give you a little bit of an action that you can take. And it's about learning about trust and how to kind of release that control, and something that you can do easily and effortlessly in 30 seconds to let go and to release control in the moment. So hold me to that. I'll talk to you about that in a couple seconds. The next thing is pixie dust. Okay, guys. Well, faith, trust, and pixie dust sounds a little bit too woo-woo to some people, but not to me, because my message is about that there's magic in this world, that there's magic in you, and that with the magic in you, in the magic in the world or the universe, that somehow or the other, faith, trust, and pixie dust are just a simple way of life. But when I think of pixie dust, let me give you one thing that I think of, and I like to kind of give analogies, and that is this one thing, and that's a lot of times when you bake. Have you ever baked a cake? Have you ever baked a cake and it's kind of sliding off to the side, or you bake a cake and the middle of the cake is kind of got this big fat dip in it, right? And you're like, oh man, this thing looks pretty ugly. Now we all know it's going to taste good, but maybe the outside just doesn't look that as great. But what do we do? What do we do to make that not only be yummy on the inside, but look great on the outside? Is we do what? We put sprinkles on it. That's the pixie dust. We put sprinkles on the cake that is feeling kind of low and lumpy in the middle, kind of feeling like it's leaning to one side. And we pull it up and we show its best face. That's what pixie dust is. Sometimes when our heart is low and it's not feeling like it can come up, and there's a little lump in the middle of us. And sometimes when we're leaning to the side and kind of sliding off, we have to do something as simple as grab some pixie dust, throw it on us, throw it on the situation. And we just have to look at it and say, I'm going to look at this in the best, most positive light, the best, most loving light. Believe me, it seems like sometimes that's almost impossible to do. And believe me, I have had my times where faith, trust, and pixie dust wasn't going to work for me. I needed a little bit more of a bigger, fatter jump start. But what I've learned is, as I've released control and I've leaned into a little more faith, a little bit more of confidence in myself, a little bit more of trust, which is releasing control of things that I can't control. And when really I get down to it, I just do this one thing, and that is throw a bit of pixie dust on it. Just brighten it up. And pixie dust is about looking at things from the best point of view you can. And that brings hope to the whole situation. So, like I said, I've had some struggles and I've had some challenges, and there have been times when this wasn't the easiest thing to do, but I've learned some things that have really helped me. And I've learned some things that have really helped my clients, and I'm going to teach them to you right now. So, let's talk a little bit about faith in ourselves. Sometimes, when everything looks like it's in a whirlwind, when everything looks like it's spinning and nothing's going right, we really just have to place our hand on our heart. Take a big, deep breath. Take another one and just say, I know I'm going to get through this because I have faith in me. I know I'm going to get through this because I have faith in me. And then when it comes to trust, I think this is kind of like an interesting little way to do this. And I've had such magic of sharing this with other people that I just have to share it with you. And that is where you just close your eyes. Get yourself quiet. You can do some breaths if you want. You can just kind of feel yourself in your chair. And when you think about trust and you think about leaning into trust, leaning into the fact that you don't need to know the outcome, I want you to pay attention to, are you leaning right or are you leaning left? Now, I'm going to remind you, you're watching a video, and so that could have looked backwards, but it was my right and my left. So pay attention to this, because if you're leaning right, there's a possibility that just think of the left brain and the right brain, that your right brain is that very kind of creative place. And sometimes in that place, it's a little bit easier. I'm not saying you can't do it whichever way you lean. It's sometimes a little bit easier to release control because you have kind of a little bit more of a energy of this kind of created spirit, and it's okay to kind of let things go a little bit more. If you're a person that leans to the left, it's a little bit more of a left hemisphere thing. And again, let me make this clear. There's no right or wrong. This way works better than the other. But keep in mind that if you're in the left side and you kind of feel really rigid, that you can just stop, get yourself in that quiet place, close your eyes, and lean forward. You can lean forward, whether you're a right leaner or a left leaner, and you can lean, I trust I'm going in the right direction. I trust that everything's going in the right direction. And I release control at this moment. It's that easy. You lean forward and you say, I trust I'm going in the right direction. I trust that everything's going in the right direction. And I release control in this moment. Because now you're creating forward movement for yourself, right? And that's what we want to do. And then last but not least, pixie dust. Okay, I gave you my cake analogy because that was the analogy that came to my little brain as I was thinking about putting this video together. And what I'd like you to think about on a deeper level than just a yummy cake. And by the way, in my brain, it's chocolate, and yep, it has sprinkles. I don't know what kind of cake you have. That's the one I'm seeing. So, what I'd like you to think about when it comes to this particular pixie dust is I want to think about where in your life do you need to just throw a little pixie dust on it and let it go. Go, boom, it's going to be okay. Boom, that's going to work out. Boom, that looks a little better if I just put a little sprinkle some pixie dust on it. Where is it that you need to do that? So we have our three things: faith, trust, pixie dust. I shared with you 3 different things to support you and help you in all 3 of those areas. They're small, they're not big, they take 30 seconds, they take one thought. The whole point of moving ourselves to a place where we want to be, serving people in a big, loving manner, is to be able to shift ourselves quick and fast and not stay stuck in the cement, right? So that's why I create simple, easy things. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Here's your action. Where do you need to, in these 3 areas, take on a new way of looking at it? Where is your mindset on faith, on trust, and pixie dust? There you go. Think about that. Maybe try those things that I showed you. And then may you have faith, trust, and pixie dust as you go on with your day. I'm sending love. It's Self-Love Leader, Cindy Sharp. If you need to get any more information, click a link below. Please subscribe. We love you. Thank you.